2 balls and a strike to count on Taylor. Urias fires, swinging a drive, deep left field. This is way back. Walk-a-walk.
What's up, everyone? Welcome into DodgerHeads, presented by DodgerBlue.com. My name is Jeff Spiegel, joined today by Matt Moreno. Matt, some exciting news for the Dodgers this offseason. Julio Urias awarded the Warren Spahn Award, which is given to the best left-handed pitcher in all of baseball. Of course, Urias coming off the best season of his career, one of the best seasons in all of baseball. He wins 20 games. He had an ERA under 3, a whip of 1.02. He makes 32 starts, a career-high 185.2 innings. Unbelievable season for him. He's the second Dodger to win the award, which you might think, oh, that's exciting. Then you remember the Dodgers have the best left-handed pitcher of the last 25 years in Clayton Kershaw. He's won this award 4 times, Matt. So let me ask you this crazy question. I've asked it to Daniel. I'm going to ask it to you. Is Julio Urias, we know he's the best left-handed pitcher in baseball right now. Is he the best pitcher on the Dodgers roster at the moment?
Well, before we get to that, I'm going to throw you a curveball. How about our video intro?
It's nice.
I know we've used it already. I can't help but smile at it ending on Chris Taylor's walk-off homer, and I know the postseason didn't end the way a lot of fans were hoping, but to see him get that moment was
Absolutely.
exciting.
And we've got, speaking of Urias, the biggest moment of my life in Dodger baseball was him recording the final out, so we know he's got the versatility there, which is a good thing.
All right, so back to your question. I don't think so. I think that still goes to Walker Bueller, and I know some of the stats from this past season aren't in Walker's favor. I trust the eye. I'm somebody, who trusts the eye test. I'm not a huge analytics person. I think you can take it into account, and this applies to all sport. I'll get in arguments with people, basketball and college football. Some of my friends talking about, advanced stats and this and that. And I say, well, I look at the product on the field and, I don't really care what the advanced stats are saying in some regard. And that's not to take anything away from Julio. They both are great. Frankly, this is a good debate that we're having, obviously, for the Dodgers. Like, if you're having to say, well, which one is better? But I still lean Walker. But, we can keep the focus on Julio. Obviously, he had a great season. Only pitcher in baseball to reach 20 wins. Well-deserved award, best left-hander. I think it was a clear selection. I know maybe you could have made a case for Robbie Ray, who won the Cy Young in the American League. Carlos Rodon possibly was in the conversation as well, but I think Urias was.
Yeah. And you mentioned the analytics. Let me make my case. I've made this case before on this show, but I think it's a compelling argument. And this isn't like, if you're expecting me to quote 20 wins right off the bat, I'm not going to do it. Wins is not a stat that I care a whole lot about. My argument for Urias is, first of all, he had a better ERA than Walker Bueller last year. And you might say, oh, well, luck. Okay, well, he had a better fielding independent of pitching last year, FIP, which is supposed to take all the luck out of it. He was slightly better than Bueller. Those numbers were close. But you look at StatCast numbers. Here's Urias. This is where he landed. He was in the top 15% last year in exit velocity, hard hit percentage, expected weighted on-base average, expected ERA, barrel rate, walk rate, chase rate, fastball spin, and curve spin, all in the top 15% of all pitchers in baseball. The walk rate was down. The strikeout per 9 was as high as it has been. I just think, I don't know if we underappreciate Julio Urias because I just think Bueller gets all this publicity because of what he does as a starting pitcher come October. Urias obviously has not had as many opportunities because he's had those big moments in the bullpen. He struggled in other moments, but I just think it's more of me not making the definitive case that Urias is better, but as if to say, most of the time when I make that argument or ask that question, people are like, oh, come on, don't be crazy. This isn't hot take season. But it's like, I think you could at least make a reasonable case that he's as good, if not better, than Walker Bueller. And it's not something that a ton of people end up thinking about.
I think what's tough to say for me is, obviously they're both still pretty young into their respective careers. So if you want to put in a vacuum and say, in terms of 2021, did he have the better season? Okay, like I could be convinced of that. If you, however, look at the body of work, and yes, opportunities haven't been necessarily distributed evenly, that's where I think the conversation, starts to tilt back in favor of Walker Bueller. What's interesting is, this year they both kind of went through some regression also in fatigue, right? Because the Dodgers were running short on starting pitchers. They were leaning on these two guys throughout the year. They did what they could, and they performed admirably. But then you kind of saw, okay, fatigue is setting in. I think maybe Walker, his strikeouts obviously were fluctuated this year a lot more than we've typically seen. So that may have been a factor to the perception, at least, of, who might be quote unquote better.
Yeah. And it's worth noting, by the way, Urias is 25, Walker's 27. So when we're talking about age, I mean, Urias has been around and in our lives for so long. I think he debuted as a 19-year-old. And so he's been around for so long that it feels like, oh, he's a veteran. Like, Bueller's got time to prove. But to your point, Bueller, I think, has a more stable record. Like his career numbers are more impressive. Again, when you look at the postseason stuff, especially, that's there. So it's interesting. And again, to your point, keep the focus on Urias. He wins the Warren Spahn Award, best left-handed pitcher in all of baseball. Again, that's impressive for a guy to beat the AL Cy Young Award winner for an award like this. Again, second Dodger to ever win the award. Clayton Kershaw has won it 4 times, so credit to him. So good news for the Dodgers. The Dodgers left-handed pitching. Julio Urias wins this award for the Dodgers. And look, regardless of all the holes the Dodgers have in their starting rotation for next year, here's the good news. Walker Buehler and Julio Urias are both back. They've got 2 of the best 10 pitchers in all of baseball, maybe higher, maybe 10's too big a number, maybe it's 7, maybe it's 5, I don't know, but 2 of the top 10 pitchers in all of baseball, which is good news for the Dodgers. That's Matt Moreno. My name is Jeff Spiegel. We appreciate you joining us. As always, check out DodgerBlue.com, DodgerBlue1958, and make sure you're subscribed and ring the notification bell here on YouTube because we got new content every single day throughout the lockout. We appreciate you joining us as always. Happy holidays. We'll see you soon.